Yes.
I'll do that again. 5:30, we're going to call the meeting to order. Any agenda adjustments?
None for us.
Any public comment?
Alex, do you have any comments tonight?
Yes, I just want to comment on the special project funding to support the decorative light post as well as the potential mural. I'm not sure I understand the argument for the special funds being the special project funds being the best source of money for the tree removal, but I'm not against that. And the power line undergrounding sounds like a great idea for next year with more information.
So what was the first issue?
Just all about the special project funding. I support the decorative light post and the potential mural.
Replacing the light post.
Yeah.
We'll discuss that.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nothing else today, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the minutes from May 15th. I move to approve them as printed.
I'll second.
All those any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the check registers?
I apologize, one of those that's a little funny because it got forgotten to be saved the way it normally does. So
Well, there's one there I have a question of. It just says Lamoille Valley. And it's for $8,100. Lamoille Valley one. Page 7. Is it Ford or Chevy or? No, it just says Lamoille
I
Valley.
believe it's the Royal Valley Chevy.
Okay.
And the reason it's in and out, I'm just trying to think of what it was.
Trading? No, there's like 7 or 8 items.
Well, some of them are corrections, so we keep them in as credits, and then fix the coding. So that's
Okay,
why
but
it looks funny.
it's a car dealer.
Yeah, I'm almost positive it's the Chevy, and I think it was just some work that was being done.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Well, we haven't heard a
Motion and second.
motion to accept approve first.
Oh, I thought we did.
No,
Oh,
Okay, can I have a motion to accept and approve the check register?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Any discussion?
Did you have something, Brad?
I thought I did, but I don't see it right now, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
Cody Chevrolet, we purchased the vehicle.
I assume that, no,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's good.
What was the one that you thought was was that the one you thought was funny?
No, it's just one of the pages,
It kind of changed the format on the
page
pages.
12 and page 13 and 14 and 15, it's just it's a cash disbursements journal as opposed to a disbursements by description report.
Okay,
Because somebody else did the
just formatted different.
accounts payable and didn't run the right report, and so I had to grab a report that we printed. That's all, it's.
Are we all set with the check register? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, item 5, wastewater bill appeal.
Not sure what you want to do with that since the
I think-
applicant's not here.
I'd just as soon take it up.
Okay.
So
I guess to
I
discuss.
get a motion to
Oh, right. And do you want
read this appeal and make a decision.
to make a motion?
Second.
Okay. the way I read it, he used the water, it went through his meter.
Correct,
He had a leaky ice machine.
correct.
He didn't monitor his bills because, I guess he pays them online or he pays them from his credit card or whatever. So it went on for quite a while.
Yep.
And he kind of insinuates that you didn't notify him of a big spike, but it occurred over 2 years, so you're not gonna see a big spike.
Correct.
So the fact that the water went through the meter, and even if it's clean, we still have to process it. It goes through the sewage treatment plant.
Mhm. Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, you gotta pay for it. If you don't notice it, the onus is on you, not on the water light company.
That is best utility practice.
So do I have a motion to refuse the appeal or
Deny.
deny the appeal?
That would be correct.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Morrisville Water Light and Hardwick Electric Department manage a sharing.
I sent you the description of that, there's an email when it first came up, and then this agreement that we put together as a way to. We'll save some money, they'll save some money, we'll get them through 3 months and find a neighbor and so I certainly recommend that we adopt this, if we're already doing it, but your contract will authorize something.
Okay, are they actively pursuing another manager?
They are, I looked at a final draft yesterday, so
Did
they
they?
hit the street tomorrow probably.
Did they ever think of reaching out to either Craig or Avery Pat?
I don't know who all they reached out to. I know they did some reaching out and they've talked to some people. It's still possible that this will short circuit because they'll find somebody else to be an interim that's more available.
Yeah.
Understands the Vermont context. So I know Beps has continued to look at that for them.
Mhm.
I haven't been part of that conversation. So, but they know that our maximum is 3 months and we'll help them out. And they'll, you know,
The thing is, I mean, things are pretty calm around here right now,
Yeah.
but as we all know, one big thunderstorm and the whole world changes.
exactly right. So,
So if that happens, you know.
Yeah.
It'll be short. Okay, do I have a motion to accept the sharing agreement?
So move. Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
That'd be quick, Tom.
No. I just don't want, I mean, too late, I just don't want it to be a distraction for you.
Right.
And, that's my biggest concern.
so long as it's working, so far it's working well, Tom. I mean, the thing I've said to everybody on both sides is even though to make it work well, I'm splitting which office I'm sitting in. Everyone has to realize I'm available to them all the time. It's almost like we just added another department here for 3 months. Because if people are like, well, I can only talk to Scott on Tuesday and Thursday, well, that doesn't work. Everything shuts down. But if it just is like, hey, get a hold of me wherever I am, it's not that big a deal. I've run much bigger companies than this and I with many more departments than that and I know how to do it. So we'll manage our way through this. I'm not really worried about it. I'll tell you if you're just doing management report. And you guys are getting more stuff pulled off. I'm beginning to think I need to be away more because all the flood stuff is all happening so fast since I've been gone. I'm like, holy crap, I just gotta get out of here more, I guess. Yeah, apparently. So I'm making light of it, but I hear your point, and I'm trying to monitor that pretty carefully. If these guys start telling me like, hey, this is just getting too hard, well, we'll have a hard conversation with my rep. And we're not obligated to even do the whole 3 months. There is a release clause in there, so you know, so if things are falling apart here, we don't have to keep going.
I think Scott knows it. I have an issue with it, I'll be sure to communicate.
She doesn't mind telling me things, so.
No matter where you are.
Yeah, exactly.
What you doing?
You'll find me. So,
Okay.
yeah, so, but I definitely hear that, and we're all cognizant of that, and, you know, work with it as well.
Okay. Do I have a motion to open up the special projects discussion?
I move to open up special projects discussion and Amy Wade.
Second.
Okay.
So you got a few things going on here, and I think one way to start, because it'll clear the deck a bit, is you've got 4 applications. And in my view, one of them may or may not be a great idea. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. But I don't think it's a good idea for this year, because one, it's not fully developed. This is the underground and the wires. We don't have accurate roles, we don't have accurate costs. And it's a big enough number that if you like the idea, I think it should go on next year's annual meeting agenda as a special article for use of annual wait funds, if you like the idea. But if you agree with all that, and David can talk to, I mean, the proposal that came in actually had a local electrician doing stuff that they're not allowed to do, only David and his group can do. So that's what I mean, it's not really fully formed, it's gonna cost way more than that estimate, doesn't have to cost the end of the earth either, it can happen. So to me, that ought to come off the table for this year, that's my recommendation. And then, but I'm still interested in hearing if you're genuinely interested, because we're happy to work with the applicants between now and next annual meeting. And bring it back to you when you're thinking about the warrant articles for next year, and see if you wanna add it for consideration at village meeting. But, because that'll narrow it to 3, takes $15,000 off the table, not for this year, not forever necessarily. And makes the rest of the conversation cleaner. But if you wanna do it this year with these funds, well, then keep it on the table by all means.
Well, I don't wanna do it this year. I think it's a good idea, but not if you leave that other wire up going to the church, because it doesn't solve anything. You still got the site pollution, or whatever you call
Which
it.
is exactly what we talked about.
Looking at what Stowe did.
Yeah.
They had a town referendum.
Right.
And a bond issue.
Yep.
And if the town wants to do that, the town should have a bond issue.
Okay.
It's not just the people of the village trying to.
So maybe we might put an Amy Wade fund piece on for part of it. And the town puts a town bond issue on for part of it. And we
Yes.
figure out how to do it together.
Mhm. But as far as us doing it, no, and the way it's worded now, it doesn't solve it.
Right.
The issue.
And we talked about that as well. It's great to take a few wires down, but if you don't take them all down, you don't really get the beautification piece. It's a little less congested, but it's not the view you want that unobstructed view, not a better view. You know,
Why spend that much money and not complete the job?
exactly. Yeah, so, okay. If you two generally agree with that, then that just helps clear that out. And we'll work with Todd and others with interest. But we're not saying no, it's just a different path.
I mean, Dave, I mean. Supposedly there's already conduit there underground that we did years ago or something, what was the concept of that, you know?
When Grand Mix first started developing Lower Main Street from the first building this side of the Civic Center up to just across from the community church. They put in conduit to all those buildings. I think there's 4, maybe 5 buildings now that have secondary underground conduit. So the infrastructure is partially there. They just have to wire it up to the existing transformers, ground mounted transformers.
No, why didn't they?
I think he was moving on to the next project before he really completed everything A to Z on the first project.
Because I know a lot of projects today, CIB requires all the electrical to be on the ground, just like up by my house.
Yeah, and that was started 2018, maybe.
Possibly, but the buildings themselves were already there
Okay,
in some cases,
so you
right?
just use the existing lines and.
A couple of the existing ones right next to the Civic Center, yes. The ones out back were,
Correct.
and they were underground.
Those are all underground, yeah.
Are they underground from the other side of the street or just from where? The same side of the
All
street?
from that side of the street, from that new development.
Mhm. Okay, so,
Okay, so on the other 3, so the other way to help clear this a little bit. Is there anything that actually complies with the Amy Wade Fund that you actually agree with? So, you know, I would say the mural definitely is not, because the Amy Wade Fund is clear that it's beautification of streets, not the rail trail.
Mhm.
And that mural is to face the rail trails, maybe eligible as a special project. Right now, I'm trying to just focus on Amy Wade, because Amy Wade is very narrow, it's beautification of streets. My personal view, the cemetery clearly does not agree with me. I think that taking trees down is a safety issue, not a beautification issue. But you may decide it's a beautification issue and say that's eligible, and it's up to you. And the decorative light pole, by definition, is called decorative. I guess it's beautification. I don't think of streetlights as beautiful, but because it's. You know, they're designed to look different and in theory be beautiful, they're decorative, it's actually in the title. You could probably easily say, we could use the 49 and whatever change on the light pole. And again, that just, all I'm trying to figure out is how do you clear money out, so you just figure out what you have left. If you wanna do any of them with Amy Ray.
Okay, I'd like to talk about the cemetery
Go ahead. Yeah, go
proposal
ahead.
first,
Okay.
and the cemetery commission has a warrant on the ballot for money.
Mhm.
So that's a town function, it's not a village function,
Okay,
and I object to the village bailing out the town. Because the town didn't want to spend any money on it, they come to us. I don't think that's the purpose of these projects, it's for stuff above and beyond that.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, they need to cut the trees down, they didn't know that last March, they could have asked for more money.
Right.
So I'm against it.
Well, they did that tree cutting a while ago, and that was due to like,
The trees came down.
right, but was it also like a disease or something, where they didn't want it to spread or?
Whatever, I know they cut a bunch of trees years ago.
It was after the big
That was that
release.
cheap, and that
Is
was,
that what they did?
Yeah.
and who paid for that?
What is she?
Did we pay for that?
I don't know who did. I mean, that's
I don't think we did.
No,
I hate
That's what I mean.
something like that.
No, I don't wanna set a precedent that every time a town commission's short of money, they come to us looking for money.
great. Will you all agree on that one? Take that out?
Okay, so I make a
So leave
motion.
us the two, so you got the mural, which I think does comply with the special projects, not the Amy Wade. Todd declared that blue building, they originally wanted to do it on the next building to the north, also on MSI building. And that building, Todd believes that the dividing line of the village is right between those two buildings. If the gray one is not in the village, the blue one is, so they moved it on to the blue building.
No,
So it's in the village, and in my view, it meets the definition of special project, so that one can apply if you decide to fund it, I'm not saying you should. And then you've got the decorative bridge pole, which can comply, if you wanna fund it. In my mind, I think it can comply with both funds, the light pole.
I'd like to take up the murals next.
Yep. If you do the mural, the one thing I would add to the mural before you take it up is if you decide to do it, just because there's some history. I think there should be a requirement in the motion that we have some sign off authority on the content to make sure that it's not political in nature in any way.
They can't do a mural of the homeless camp across the rail trail.
Well, and I know that the definition of political is can be ambiguous, so it's not that we'd be trying to say no to everything. But you guys have had a pretty firm stance that you know, that's why we don't do banners right now, right? 'Cause we don't wanna be in the political business, so I didn't think of that when I wrote the memo, but Penny reminded me.
Well, they submitted some
I
examples.
don't think that that's necessarily what they would do, though. We'd wanna see the final.
Of possible murals.
We'd wanna see the final,
Okay.
whether we, and just be able to sign off on it. We wouldn't unduly restrict it, we're not gonna try to make up politics,
Yeah,
but, you know. I don't wanna be blue lives matter, black lives matter, or this lives matter, or that lives, you know.
okay,
none of that, right?
Yeah, I like the fact that they've got other people contributing, and Menage contributing, MSI is contributing, and River Ross looks like they're contributing.
Yeah.
So. I like to think,
I just have a question. The mural that's on the Green Dragon.
Yeah.
How was that determined? And who decided on that?
Well,
I mean,
we
was that,
didn't,
wasn't anything we
no,
did,
but it's in the village.
it wasn't anything
I
that,
know, but I just wanted
I don't
to,
know.
that's something that's already been done, and how was that?
Let me
how was
check
that
with Todd and see
process
if,
made?
you know,
or
just.
Tricia,
or
check with Tricia, yeah.
We can check with them and find out, I don't know, just to be honest with you.
I mean, there's nothing against it, I didn't know if there's already a process in place that we're not looking at or overriding or whatever, but. I'm in agreement for it.
so can I get a motion to approve the mural request, and we have a final say of the content of the art.
Yes, I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And that was, what was the number, like 25 something,
2550.
2550.
Okay, okay, the next item is the decorative light poles. And I remember when they got those, that Matt, the Morristown Alliance for Comical Culture,
Mhm.
raised the money somehow, but they did. And, you know, the fact that the town didn't insure them, again, that's a town's problem. Every time something isn't insured, And they come looking at. For money from us? No, they can look in their own budget, and if the town doesn't wanna approve that stuff, that's the town's choice. So, I'm personally not in favor of it.
They did recognize the error and since they now have insurance on those poles, so I believe, just to be fair to them, just to make sure you all know. It was an oversight on their part, it was intended to be insured, it turned out it wasn't. And even before they made the request, they did get insurance, which doesn't help with this one, Bob. But, and it's not to say you should say yes or no, I'm just trying to make sure you know some of the context, at least that was communicated to me.
Again, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I just don't wanna set a precedent.
Precedent issue aside, I'd like to see us put the pole up, but
I'd like to see the poll up too.
I agree, you know, we have precedents to watch out for because we're gonna get it shoved at us if we.
Oh, absolutely.
And the next time somebody wants something, you're gonna say, well, you did it before.
Would it be, maybe you split it with the town? Maybe you go in halvesies, split it? Just a
Again,
thought, just a
My
thought.
thing is, we've cut so much from the town, I mean, we.
We
gotta
didn't
just-
cut it from the town cut.
Right, but it's still, I want. The town or the village to be a place that looks nice and is welcoming, and if it's a light pole that does that, I'm all for it. I do like the idea of maybe splitting it. That way, if there's another presence down the road, we can say, well, we split the cost or something like that, I just. Yeah, they should have dotted their i's and crossed their t's, but to me, I just think. A light pole, especially if it's a safety issue too, I would imagine. Right, I mean, it's right on the
Where we
rail,
have lights,
you know? Yeah, exactly.
There's certainly a safety issue going out there and knocking it down. I don't know how they did it.
One thing I would offer to you, precedents in the past, when those have been damaged, we had somebody that backed into one, we build them. I think the town has hit them before with snowplows, right?
Yeah, to the
And-
snow removal.
I think we ended up charging them for the material, but not for the labor to install them.
Sounds about right.
The town's insurance didn't pay for them hitting the pole.
The person that hit him, insurance did.
On
person
that
that hit
one,
him's
yeah,
insurance.
but we had the town damage some too.
Yeah.
I think with the snowplow. And I'm pretty sure we sent them a bill and. But then I think there was some discussion on that, I think then we only billed them for the material, anything we were actually out of pocket, the labor. Since we're paying our employees anyway, we didn't charge them for that, I think, that's my memory. And it's been a number of years since they've been damaged.
And with the cost, does that include the reinstallation by us, or who installs it
I
again?
think that's just the part,
We reinstall them.
yeah, we reinstall it,
So is that covered in that?
I do not believe so.
So to that
Just the
point,
part.
Water and Light would be giving some money in way of labor,
Okay.
right?
Correct. Because Tricia wouldn't know how much, she didn't talk to anybody here, so that number can't include labor, because she wouldn't know what it costs, because she didn't talk to us about that, so I believe that's just the cost of buying the decorative light.
And of course, they didn't catch anyone.
I don't know.
I don't see how a car could hit it.
Oh, I don't think it was a
That
car.
one wasn't a
No, it
car,
wasn't.
are you seeing that?
It was a
that
school
hurt
bus.
something, right?
It was a school bus.
I can just picture somebody with their back to the railing and their feet on that aluminum
Yes.
pole, and then once you just got the oscillating back and forth
Yeah,
in the river went.
yeah.
If you do decide to go with something like your thought of splitting it or her thought of splitting it, I would just say. Yeah, I'd recommend you use the.
Anyway, I was gonna ask if we should move it over into that category.
I think we can call it street beautification, I think it passes the lab test. Only because the special projects are much more flexible. So in case somebody else comes in with a good idea in the next month or two, keep the special project funds as whole as you can. To see if there's another good idea, totally up to you again, just be my thought.
So then are you potentially recommending that only $4,928 at the most goes toward that project, if anything?
I'm recommending whatever they wanna do. If they
So
want to
that's
do
what-
half of it, if they want to do, that's how much is Amy Wade. Oh, no, half would be less, half would be
Oh,
36.50 or
okay.
something.
Oh, 4928 is the total that's in there, that's right.
That you have available to you, there's 100 and some odd thousand, and never, you can't
Yeah,
use more than 49.20.
Yeah, half is 35.60.
Yeah,
So Tom, if you wanna do it, make a,
Okay, I'll make a motion to
okay,
pay for half.
35.60,
I'll
and
second
half
it.
is Amy Wade.
Anyway, yeah.
okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Was that Tom and Brad, is that who you know? I'm sure. Good, thank you. We'll continue to see if any additional ideas come in, because there is still a special projects fund. We've thought a little bit about doing a bit of an entry to the village right out here. We just haven't, we're allowed to apply to, we just, since you had enough applications, we didn't bother. Putting together something, but we have, since this is a major entry to the village, really, right, I know it's just up the hill. But
Yeah.
you could actually do a bit of a Morrisville welcome. And make this property look a little nicer and more inviting coming into the village. So, but we didn't want to compete with projects before you saw them, because I didn't even write it down in the memo, because I didn't want to bias you. So, but we might actually talk about that a little bit more. We've talked a little bit internally, but we didn't have many applications still right at the end, so we were getting ready to put something together, and as soon as we had plenty to cover the money, I don't want us competing when there's other ideas on the table. You know, I don't think that's fair play.
And I'm glad somebody fixed the sign.
They just did that one, and I appreciate it.
I didn't even recognize it, didn't even notice.
You didn't notice?
I don't, no, I noticed it was fixed, but I didn't notice that it was.
Good, thank you all, appreciate that.
Yeah, do you wanna, Alex, if you want to say anything?
Here we go.
Okay, I don't take any more.
Ready to go on, Mr. Chair? Number 9.
Here are we.
Mitigation funding.
Okay, other things, potential flood mitigation project pre-applications.
Bob and I met with, Don McDowell here 3 weeks ago, I don't remember exactly. The town was looking at, the state recently got like $96 million in money from the federal government that they get to administer for flood mitigation, not recovery, but to stop things from happening in the future. And so, I mean, that's a fair amount of money for Vermont. We divide that by the number of towns we have, that's, you know, not that it's gonna be done that way, but you get a sense of some money kicking around. And so the town was starting to think about some ideas, and so Don wanted to talk to us about, you know, could maybe the village and the town actually apply the things together. So the 3 of us did a bit of a brainstorm, you have that in your packet, we came up with 5 ideas. I know the town has since added one, which is to do a bit of do some assessment of all their bridges and culverts for their capability with higher levels of water. And do the assessment and then potentially start upgrading the size of some. You know, and I looked at these, and we don't really know exactly what the criteria are. Penny and I are going to a statewide meeting tomorrow morning, where we're supposed to learn more about this. Of the ideas that we came up with, 2 seem to fit the criteria such as we can find it today pretty well. One would be more on the town side, which is, there's a great desire to increase the size of the floodplain, so actually create capacity in the floodplains. That could be like buying out somebody's property and removing the structures and actually making more room in there, right? And that's not a village thing. The one that seemed to make sense is, you know, we're talking about mitigation directly with FEMA about moving our municipal wells down there out of the path of the floods. But what could fit here really well is to armor the bank at the Tenny Bridge so that the river can't go through that field and it has to turn the corner. And so, and I think that the town generally amenable to that. Select Board talked in concept about this Monday night, I went, represented us. And then they're gonna bring it up again at their next meeting. These applications are due the 21st. And per project, I think the pre-applications couldn't be simpler, I think it's like 10 minutes, it's all online, it's like a 10-minute form online. So if we do 1 or 2 or 3 of them, we can have this on your next agenda on the 19th, to kind of see where they land, see if we land in the same place. See if we want to do something with them, or if we want to do our own thing. You could add to this list, that's what Don offered to the select board to do at their meeting. This was just stuff that Bob and Don and I threw on the table. You know, Bob thought about, shouldn't we just dredge out Lake Memorial some and put it back the way it used to be, and there's a chance they would look at that as creating more floodplain, except the state hates dredging, so. And so I'm gonna try to find out tomorrow, that may rise up the list based on what we hear tomorrow. If they're okay with dredging as part of these, then Lake Memorial will probably rise up that list a little bit.
Yeah, it's amazing. They wanna mitigate floods, but they won't let you use the dams to
I know,
prevent floods.
I know.
Because somebody doesn't wanna do that.
Well, if any of you have more ideas, or any of these were just like, I would never be in favor of that, or if something struck you. Tell us now, tell us tomorrow, we got 2 weeks, before we're gonna have to really land somewhere. We don't have to apply for anything either, by the way, it just. Strikes me, I'm particularly interested in that armoring down at Tenney Bridge.
Yeah. And that benefits the town too, because that's all the stuff that wound up at the Oxbow.
That's right, so, but really wide open, and no intent to have you take any action tonight, really to introduce it, and thank Bob for participating in that, and now the new town manager's involved now that he's here. So Don was just running in anticipation of him getting here and try to get us all talking. It was very nice of him to do.
Didn't you say before that the state seemed more amenable than in the past to armoring that bank?
V-Trans was open to it when I talked to them. At first, they thought we were blaming them, so they were a little prickly. But when I said, no, like, I'll send you a picture, like, your bridge abutment's gonna go away. The Memorial River wants it. Unless we do something, the Memorial River is eventually gonna have your bridge abutment. There's nothing you're gonna do about it. And then they were like, oh, you're trying to help us, okay? Like, yeah, I'm just trying to build support. Like, this should be the town and us and V-Trans should really be all in on this. But we all win, so.
I mean, I'm not an engineer, I think we built up that embankment. Doesn't that just raise the water up in that area and then
Yeah,
actually put more probability of taking out the bridge? Cause now.
Now you do it right, because really, all that the armoring does is try to force it to, it still may flood over the top. But it eventually, what it tries to do is make sure that it doesn't rechannel right through it. That you're still gonna have some floods in there, but like, you've had a hole in the same place twice now. That dug down into our recharge area. That armoring would stop that from happening, because it would take the energy out of the water. It may still go over, but just go over and sit there, and like, who cares at that point, right? Before they rebuilt the bridge, that never happened. That field certainly has flooded in the past, it never dug that a 30-foot hole. So, and saying that's why V-Trans thought I was blaming them. Yes, they realigned it, I think that's what caused it, who cares? Let's armor it and take the energy out, that's how you take energy out of water. You make it hit something irregular that causes a lot of friction. You take the energy out of it, and then it's less dangerous. That's the theory, anyway. Any other ideas? We can continue, we'll bring this up again next agenda meeting. I'll let you know where the select board lands on whatever 2 nights before our next meeting is, so. The 17th, I guess they meet next, and we meet the 19th, so I'll let you know where they landed, and we'll have to decide if we want to apply for anything or not.
I mean, is there a source out there that talks about, these kind of things? I mean, cause I don't know what needs to be done.
But we may learn
I
some
can't
more,
Say, yeah, I want this there.
we may get some more ideas tomorrow, like I said, Penny and I are going to this statewide meeting tomorrow morning. Where they're supposed to be talking about that's why we're going. We may learn more, maybe they're just gonna tell us logistically. How it works, I'm hoping they at least tell us more about the criteria.
Yeah.
Like right now, I interpreted. The categories they put on this form of what you can apply for, but there's no description of, it's just like 4-word. Descriptions, there's not 2 paragraphs to say what they mean by it. So I'm hoping we're gonna get a little more depth about what these categories mean. So we can then look more rigorously at the ideas we have on paper, and maybe some more will drop out the bottom of it too, Tom, right?
Yeah.
It's the idea. Good. Awesome, all right.
The management updates.
Kevin, you're up.
ERG is gonna be here Monday.
Did you really just say that?
I did. I talked to Cam, he said he's
Damn
gonna
you.
Can we send them our minutes?
Better yet, I'm gonna send him the hardest. I'm making that comment.
Any questions on anything else I have there? Like Scott mentioned, we've gotten a pile of stuff done on, the recovery from the flood last year, which is all good.
I would just update, I know some things that even happened this week and aren't in the report, so some of this famous stuff that's just screaming, I would just do some updating, Kevin.
We got we knocked out 3 different things today. We got the chain link fence at Katie's Falls addressed. We got the dive inspection done at Distilling Pool at Green River, and Pratt Smith finished up the electrical work at well 3 this morning, so. What else did we get? We got I think the only outstanding one, or the one we might need an extension on, would be the rack repair at Gatehouse 2, so. Dave's got all finished up down there with Mark Cody, and we may have to bring him back later we will have to bring a crane back later to lift those racks in and out, but. That'll be all part of that project separate from this. It would have been nice to roll it all together, but timing was just out of the question,
At
so.
least now you do know what's wrong with the racks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because of what you did on the water drones and all that, well, they basically just got mangled.
Yeah.
You know.
so we've got their proposal and talked with the M&K divers. They can do it without having to dewater, which is fantastic. And the gatehouse was built with a giant trap door in the roof, so they can lift
Oh,
and replace and remove the racks in there, so. That'd be good. I mean, other than the well 2 and 3 mitigation stuff, that we're on the tail end of this stuff finally, so.
Yeah.
and I'll just add while we're on his, so we also yesterday packaged up all the stuff about mitigating down at the wells, into FEMA, so that, you know, they now have all the information, including what would it cost to repair well 2, which we're not gonna do, but they look at that to see how much you're eligible for mitigation. And our argument is we're eligible for that number twice, because if we'd have fixed it in July, it would have washed out again in December. It only didn't wash out in December because we never fixed it. So we're arguing we're entitled to the repair cost times 2. And then we sent them moving well 2, replacing well 2 by moving it. We also sent them elevating well 3 to an elevation in the same location higher than the flood stage. And we sent them relocating the generator out of the floodplain up nearer to the rail trail. So we packaged all those costs together, sent it in, and then we'll see how hard their brain hurts and what they say.
It was a
I
lot.
don't know what we're gonna hear. I also read an article today that I'm gonna talk to Penny about, but apparently the bond bank announced today a new program specifically for municipal water with like 0 interest loans and even some grants. I don't know the detail, but literally saw the article today. Penny obviously was nodding her head. But she,
I have a note that to write you,
yeah.
to talk to you about it, yeah.
So she, that's as much as I know. She obviously knows more than me. And so I don't know if you want to say anything.
I don't know anymore, other than I saw the same thing, I didn't read it.
So we need to at least investigate that, because if we do, I think we get mitigated, just to be honest, just be clear here and transparent. If we get any mitigation money from out of this from FEMA, it's not gonna be sufficient to do what we need to do. So this may be great, because honestly, if we then take our article to the village voters at, 20-year 0% interest note to move that well out of the way, that's gonna be a lot more favorable we receive than, 6.2%, right?
You bet.
5.5 to 6.5 is kind of the going interest rate that
Is
we're
that what it is right now?
today. even for a municipality. Yeah, but 0.0. And some of it is, we actually even qualify according to the article, they call, a small water system is less than 10,000 customers. So, and some of that, you can even get some forgivable loans and some grants. They only have 500,000 of that, though, so we wouldn't get much, so really realistically would be if we could get some of the money they got in the zero interest loan. That would, could blend with some mitigation money, then we can really secure those wells for the next 20 years.
Do you know when we're gonna get the word on the mitigation money?
They got, FEMA now has to put the meeting together, so, but we have everything we need. Aldrich and Elliot helped us with that, so I'm sure they'll have questions.
Well, I'm just wondering if that other money will be spoken for.
I
By
think
the time we get word.
we have to start looking at it and because I don't trust how quickly FEMA moves, because they've proven to us they don't move quick. My view, if it turns out to be a real thing, like again, Penny and I need to learn more. If it's attractive to us, we'll just start the application process. And then if for some reason we need to change the number to a smaller number, or we just drop out, then we just do that, right? So, to me, if that money's really there at 0%, we gotta get in line. That's kind of where I was, yeah, that's my feeling then. So sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah,
Was it-
the
was it-
only other thing, MSI,
Trying to get your money.
yeah, I'm all for it. Best Street water line, we haven't got a confirmed date from MSI yet, but we hear they want to shoot for the end of this month, so.
No, the trench they dug on Best Street at the end, they ran a 6 or 8 inch piece of plastic pipe through it. I was thinking that they were doing that to reroute the storm drains. But when the fire department came up and burned that house down, they took their big fire hoses to the hydrant and they snaked them through that line under the ground. That's what they did.
Mystery solved. That was a speed, they didn't want to use it as a speed bump. So more to come on that, but hopefully end of this month, that'll be done, and Dave will be a happy camper up there this year.
Looking pretty good street to Best Street again, right?
Looking forward to it.
And the Maple Leaf kids, that went well?
Yes, yeah, we were short one the
I
first
saw the
day.
Facebook posting.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what they get excited about or not, but, they, yeah, they were good kids.
I'm sure it was their first choice.
Well, that was the thing, it wasn't, I don't know.
Was it first choice for the second kid?
No, neither one, I didn't have any idea about it, but they were really impressed with it, of course, what kid doesn't ride, taking a ride in the bucket truck?
Yes, yeah, right,
They
exactly.
didn't go all the way up though, did they? No, they were really brave when they were talking about it beforehand, but.
Okay, stop.
Yeah. They made it clear.
No, that's it.
How are you, David?
So, we were getting all of our projects that we could done in the month of, May, so we could kick off our transmission rebuild for the month of June. And we basically told our customers, we'll see you in July, we'll pick up with all of our customer work in July. And we've taken the delivery on all of the off-road equipment, the off-road track bucket and digger, the excavator, and the guys started on it Monday. They've had to bring in a contractor already. They've done 6 ledge holes, I think. And they've got 3 holes that they've dug themselves since Monday. So that's been going good. We've hired our first-class lineman, Adam Warner. He started Monday, and he's so far, he's fitting in good. He brings a lot of varied experience, because he was what we call a tramp lineman. He's worked out of the Union Hall and done transmission work. Not a lot of distribution work, but mostly transmission in New York, Maine, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania. So just different methods and techniques to get the job done. So I have high hopes for
And
it.
Dave's that fully staffed, that's right.
We're fully staffed, yeah.
Great.
The brush cutters are just about done, they're just cleaning up a couple of spots, so we've got 100 foot cleared right away from. Garfield Road out to Morrisville Used Auto. Yeah, if you guys get a chance, drive by, it looks good. We completed a whole relocation for the state of Vermont on Route 12, that we were in there right away, we had to move that so they could do a temporary bridge. Mike Larish, he's our 4th-year apprentice, he's at his mid-year exam right now as we speak. We assisted GMP with some work that they were doing on the transmission line, which meant we took Village of Johnson distribution load on our system for, I think it was a day, maybe a day and a half. What else have we got on there that's interesting? Oh, our pre-paint inspection for the new bucket truck was completed. Rusty Shed, our line foreman, went down to Somerville, Mass, where it's being made by Terex, and it's ready to be delivered probably before July, end of this month. So
Our intention is to sell the old ones, just so you know that.
So what do you think you get for
Usually have less than 10 years, right?
Less than 10?
that's a 2004, and I can't tell you how many hours are on it. So we've sent them to auctions. JJ Kane is an auction house that does a lot of these utility vehicles, and the last one we sent, I think we got $6,000 for it.
Can't believe it. So I would need one? They do, but I mean, they don't need old ones like that. Really? They got a lot of old ones like that they need to get rid of some.
And Cody's not gonna put in a bid.
You never know.
David, you wanna talk more about the dredging project? Just because it's exciting to have that done, so.
Yep. The crane is in the process of being disassembled because the area that we designated for the dredging's been completed. That's 60 by 60 by 20 feet deep at the intake for the gatehouse. They devised a method to verify the depth in the area. Most of the material is on site. They had to truck some of it to gravel construction. They've got a pit in Hardwick that they took some of the material. And now they're just gonna reconfigure the ramp that they use to get the crane up to the back of the wing wall to do the dredging and move that material over to where the scour went over the flood waters went over the wing wall and scoured all that material. Build the access road, and they've got a lot of material piled up there on site already to smooth it out, and they may have to truck in a little fine gravel to make the last top coat of the road. So that's progressing pretty well.
And this is a road that gets us right up to the gatehouse, basically on the dam, but right near the top of the dam.
Yeah.
So, which we need to go to get a vehicle up there to get stuff up there, and so that's what that road is for.
Do you get to that, like, when you come right down Brooklyn Street, if you were to go straight, is that how you get out there?
That'll take you over to the opposite side of the spillway.
Yeah.
Back spillway.
Okay.
If you were nimble enough, you could get across that spillway and then you'd be on the wing wall where the flood waters went over. And they're just clamming it over that wing wall, and you could go across the bridge down there, it'd be easier. Yeah, you can walk around down there.
That was a long time in coming. Two separate bids, because the first time the bidder, we only had one bidder and they couldn't get the insurance, so we had to reject them. And then this time we had a few bids and we gave it to Mark, and so then it happened just really quick. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, he's not wasting any time, and he's doing a good job down there for us.
You got any?
I've got what I have on my report, but also, the past, I think yesterday, I spent most of the day, on meetings, for reviewing a new financial system and also reviewing what our current billing system can do for us. Speaking of that, I attended, a users group for our software last week. I think it was last week in Massachusetts, and, learned a few things, found a way that, we can work through new customers for paying their deposits. When Tammy comes back next week, we're gonna do some testing on that. Also have the audit report that I'm reviewing. And
Yeah.
we need to talk about when would be a good time to review that or give it to you guys to accept. The June meeting, I will not be at, and neither will the KBS partner. And then the July meeting, she is also out of town. So I'm not sure. I don't know what your pleasure is on that, if we wanna just do a half-hour special meeting sometime. I suspect that we might be able to have the final draft available by the end of next week. We can send out, or I don't,
That's the other option, you could just send it out, make sure that you're comfortable, and then we can accept it anytime. It's really just if you have questions or if you wanna meet directly with the auditor, so that you can talk to them, you know, about what's in the audit and.
So is this required by some regulatory body to be done by a certain time?
I mean, I will tell you that, I've gotten a few emails looking for the audit. I've sent them the draft already, but like, our bond bank for some of our loans has asked for
So we
that.
should probably get it done as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Okay. I have no objection to you having send it out to us. And we can look at it and talk about it at the next meeting.
The question is, yeah, whether or not you need or want somebody from KBS to be there, because again,
She's not.
she's not available till potentially August. And I'd kind of like to get it done before then, or, I don't know how the whole idea of appointing an individual to accept it on the board's behalf, if that.
Hard to do that, I mean, you could accept it by email. And then just affirm that in a future meeting, so you could all review it and basically send in I accept the audit, 'cause you don't approve an audit, you guys just accept basically the meaning of it. And you could do that, in the meantime, Penny could say, it's been accepted by the trustees, it just won't show up in our minutes until you have a meeting.
Okay.
That's another way you can do this.
But like Bob, if you wanted to come in one
Yep.
day, you and I and Scott and whoever, we could
Yeah,
do Zoom with
I mean,
Robin.
how long would it take to read,
It would take what?
to review the audit?
depends on how
Thorough,
how far into the notes you go. The management letter in the top line, you can read in 15 minutes. If you wanna read all, whatever it is, 80 pages, and review every number you could be there for 4 hours.
I mean, what I can tell you, it's a clean audit, it's a clean audit, I mean, other than that, it's just more about what you may have an interest in looking at it, or.
Are there any questions that any of us might have that you probably can't answer, as well as a rep from? I don't think,
Definitely not, I mean, the purpose of you guys meeting, and you don't have to do it every year, but the purpose is to make sure you can ask questions. It's a good practice occasionally, again, not every year, but you should occasionally not only have them here, but after you have a general discussion with them, you should go into executive session with them and tell us to leave, not even keep management. And you should ask them questions like, did Penny force you to change anything in the audit? Did Scott leverage Penny? Is Scott not letting Penny hire people that she really needs? And I've only probably been on 30 boards. And there was one time when we did that, where the auditor looked at us with a frightened look and said, your whole house is falling down around you. And we had no flipping idea. I can tell you it's not happening here, but you shouldn't trust us to say that. That's the point is you should occasionally talk to the auditor, without us, it
So
doesn't.
we couldn't do that before July?
You could do it next year too. Again, you don't have to do that part every year. I'm just saying it's a good.
Not at a board
practice.
meeting. Like, you could do it, or like, again, we could either call a special meeting and have 3 of you, or. The board could assign 2 of you and we could do something like in an afternoon or. Like a half an hour meeting with
Sure.
Robin via Zoom. I mean, it won't be done before. Like, I'm out of the office the week of the 17th of June, and so if we're gonna do that, I would propose sometime the week of the 24th. Again. I still have work to do on it, and I hope to get that done by the end of this week. And then they will need to review what I've done and then put it in final draft. So I'm not even sure if we will get a final report. I'm hoping that we would get it before the next board meeting, but
Okay, we're only having one meeting in July.
correct.
Are there a couple of you that might be willing to, Penny's point, to be willing to participate in the call?
Maybe the last week of June.
I will in June, but I'm going away the first 2 weeks of July.
Okay.
Because then what we could do is we could do the call, and provided that the two of you, because you can't quorum, right, because that's a meeting. The two of you, we could then write a note to the rest of the board, to say, hey, you know, Brad and Bob met with the auditors. You know, if all things seem fine, are you all comfortable accepting this via email? If so, we'll do that now, and we'll acknowledge it in the future 7 minutes, so that there's a record that you accepted it. Does that work?
It works for me.
Work me,
All right, so Penny will try to find the time for the two of you to meet with the
Yeah,
auditors. She's gotta talk to the auditors to get some dates.
Yeah.
So,
But I'd be looking potentially for last week of
June, so.
June.
the last week of June, I'm here, next week I'm not.
It's raining. so-
Okay, it is raining, okay. Say that again, Brad, I'm so sorry. I was-
No, that's okay, the last week of June I'm here,
Okay,
the next week I'm not.
okay.
But that'll work.
You're not here the first 2 weeks of July,
I'm
so.
leaving June 29th, and I'll be back July 15th.
Okay.
Perfect. Right, that'll work. So work for you, Penny? Perfect. Alright. Anything else for Penny? Let's see. In terms of other things, I don't really look there, happy to answer anything on that. This is building out a technology roadmap, so we obviously had a draft one in our IRP that we submitted, but just wanted you to know that the good service that VEPS is providing, they've hired a consultant to really take the sort of things we were contemplating in our IRP, not just for us, but for all the members, and really getting a consultant team to start diving into what does that really mean. So I participated in our first meeting with their consultant team yesterday. Every utility is doing it. And then, you know, over the course of the summer, that will get firmed up to be kind of a VEPS-wide technology plan, which with a lot more detail and understanding of what it costs and what needs to happen first, second, and 12th, and all that sort of stuff. So that's good. We've also got a strategic planning retreat coming up in, I think it's July 15th or something. I forget exactly. Where the VEPS board and staff will go away and talk in more depth about these sorts of things, about what's the state forcing us to do and how we're gonna pull it off, basically. Sort of thing, what's the agenda for the next year? So, you know, I continue to think VEPS has a lot of value for us. They provide services that we need about 1/10 of an FTE on about 10 different services, but you'd never find one person that could do all 10 things. So by ganging together with all the other communities, we get access to all this expertise that we could never acquire ourselves in a useful way. So I will say our power supply costs are pretty down this year compared to budget. So that's good. We're like 135,000 to the good. Doesn't mean we'll say that for the whole year, but year to date. And electricity usage is actually up year to date. Recently, every month has been higher than last year's so far this year. So that's good, and maybe these heat pumps are actually starting to be installed. I can't tell you what it is, I saw you kind of beginning to wonder. You also have to remember, it sometimes can be as simple as the weather.
I said it's,
Right, so you just,
to run earlier.
you just never know, year to year, so you can't draw just, you know. You can't just take like 2 data sets and say you got a trend, like, what I can tell you is it's been a long time. Since you saw like 5 months in a row that were all higher than the last 5 months, and you look back over 10 years of data. It's not that there aren't months that are higher and lower each month, each year. But it's noticeable that we're actually using some more electricity, which is good. Again, it doesn't mean it will continue the rest of the year. Who knows what's gonna happen, but it is definitely different, so. And the whole Mystic, you know, that extra cost burden we've been carrying to make sure there was natural gas available for New England. That whole arrangement ends at the end of May. So June, we should get our final bill, which some months has been a couple $1,000, some months has been tens of thousands of bucks. All depends month to month. And then after that June bill, that's believes to be 3 or 4 months after that. That whole 2.5 year period, there'll be a true up of sorts of, you know, they basically got paid along the way, but with a bit of trust built in, we think no one's still ever seen the contracts. Because our city won't let us see them. So we're paying for something we don't even know what it includes. And we're not allowed to. So, Debs is likely to file suit with some others to demand that if we're gonna pay a true up, that we get to see what we're paying for.
Well, could that be because of all the restrictions that Vermont has on what kind of power you can buy?
It's every state. That no one's allowed to see it.
Okay.
How do we get away with that? I should know one.
That shows the lights off.
I don't know, so, but the point is, the real point is, there'll be a true up, it could go our way, it could go against us financially, but then that arrangement's done. There's no more Mystic that we're paying for. Whether Mystic will continue or not, that's a whole different matter. But there won't be a surcharge that every utility in New England is paying anymore at that point, that ends. So, I think that's most of the VEPSA stuff, and what about the flood meeting? I told you about the FEMA mitigation going in, so good, that was all I had. Wow. Things are popping around here, you can't tell, these guys are busy. All happening. I did participate with her on the hearing about what our customer system can do, and I didn't sit in on the demo for the finance system. Penny has always said, and I'll give her props here, that she believed that our customer system can do more than we understand it can do. And if you take them at their word, I think she's been right all along. They're playing that the sort of things that we asked them about, doing all this net metering stuff that takes our staff days and days a month. By hand, doing all that in the system. They claim that other places can use their system and do it. This notion of having an electric vehicle time of use rate, they're nonplussed by that. Everything we talked to them about, they said they're doing somewhere else with their system. So we now need, you basically said, prove it to us, we need to see it. But I think she's been right all along that we probably, part of the reason I'm telling you is, if we end up sticking with them based on what Penny learns and what pricing they show us, it probably means we'll have a fair series of office shutdowns on some regular basis for a while. But basically, what I said to them after they said it could do all that is prove to her it really can, then give us a training plan so that we're not blaming our staff. They haven't been trained to know how to use it. And we'll just, if we have to however often we have to shut the office to do the training so that we can get the full power of this system. Let's do it. Let's figure, that's what Penny's always said she thought the problem was. But she's been right all along. I'll admit that publicly.
I'm gonna make sure Linda puts that in.
Now that we're
Put it on the bills.
But that's actually really good news, by the way, because it'd be way less painful if they can prove it to us. And then they give us pricing that makes it attractive, because we also ask for that. If they can do that, that's a lot less painful than incorporating whole new systems, right? And big technology projects are always problematic and painful, no matter how well you plan them. They never go well. Never. So it would be the best case scenario if they could give us good pricing and then prove that they can really do all this stuff. So that's the hope right now. I don't have certainty for you, all I have is hope, but I at least have reason for hope. So, and Penny drove all that, so it's good.
So, motion to adjourn,
Motion?
I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
34.
David is, Michael's makeup or the TV today or?
Hang on. Let me do this.